Good morning, everyone. Sunday, March 16th, and we got 6 games to cover from last night. These are the 2 games I did not watch. Again, I have 4 devices, so I have to pick and choose what games I watch. Basically, from here on out, I'm going to be focusing on the games that I feel have a more interesting storyline to them, or they have greater playoff implication. So, no, did not watch the Dashers and Mississippi again. I probably will be tuning in this afternoon as the 2 teams complete a 3-3. Dashers fall on the short side once again. It's a 4-2 final. Second straight game that the Dashers have actually outshot the SeaWolves, but the results just haven't come yet. Ed Coffey, he gets the win in that for the Mississippi SeaWolves, stopping 35 shots. Parker Rutherford, 31 of 34. There was an empty net goal late. Game-winning goal was scored by Noah Hiplet-Smith, 17:59 of the third period. Shots on goal in this game, 13-11 in favor of Mississippi on the first, 11-7 in the second, and then the third period, Dashers tried to turn it on offensively, outshooting Mississippi 19-11, but Mississippi ended up with 2 goals in the third period. Crowd of 1760 on hand. There we go. Mississippi improves to 10, 34, and 3. Dashers losing streak. It's now 42, and now they are officially eliminated from the playoff picture. Was very unusual that Mississippi was eliminated mathematically before the Dashers were, but it's one of the strange things about the FPHL this year. The other game I did not watch, there were some storylines here, but I didn't think that this was as impactful of a game as the other ones, so I chose the other 4 to watch. Athens easily handles the Zydeco, who have really lost their way offensively as of late. Just can't buy offense to save their lives. And it's sending them in the wrong direction. So Athens is improving, of course, 3-1. They are now 35-7-3. They have 2 games in hand on Carolina, so it's kind of like they're in a virtual tie for first, even though they're in second place. Baton Rouge, 25-14-6. They are now tied for fourth and kind of falling potentially down to 5th today because Blue Ridge plays, Baton Rouge does not. Josh Rosenzweig, he gets the win, 35 saves for the game. It's Sammy Bernard. He stopped 34 of 37 in just over 58 minutes played. And Oscar Weisblatt had the game-winning goal at 12:06 of the second period. Weisblatt with 2 goals on the night. Shots on goal in this game. It was Athens in the first period out shooting the Zydeco 15-13, 17-14 in the second in favor of the Lobsters, and then 9-5 in favor of the Zydeco, but just wasn't enough. Good crowd though, 37-53 on hand. And again, right now, as it stands, Baton Rouge is in a tie with Blue Ridge for 4th place. By virtue of having more wins, they're technically the 4th place team, but Blue Ridge plays this afternoon. So, all right. Watertown, we'll talk about this in just a second. They do clinch a playoff berth, even though they were idle last night. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. All right, so the battle of the first place teams, and a lot of people had this kind of circled on their calendars quite a while ago. If you're a Carolina fan or Binghamton fan, you were both kind of looking at this game going, yeah, this is going to be a biggie. Really will give us a good indication of how we stack up. And I guess there wasn't really many questions answered because here we have a goalie battle, a 1-0 victory by the Black Bears. If this is the kind of hockey that we're going to get in the playoffs, and the playoffs are going to be really, really, really good. These teams were so evenly matched. It really came down to just a couple of very minor breakdowns, a couple of little turnovers that really made the difference in this game. Both Mario Cavalieri and Connor McAnanima stood on their heads. Amazing saves by both. This game, if it featured lesser goalies, this could have been like a 5-4 game, but no, it was a 1-0 game. Austin Thompson with the lone goal at the 127 mark of the second period, assisted by Tyson Kirkby. Sellout crowd on hand. It was a playoff atmosphere. It was a very well played game. Again, very clean. No nonsense. Yeah, there were a couple of calls that were missed by the officials, but nothing major, nothing egregious. And that happens in a typical game. For the most part, I thought that the game was a very good quality game, and the Black Bears end up on top. So yeah, they continue just marching along. Carolina is now 34-9-4, nothing to sneeze at. Still first place in the Continental. Binghamton 42-5-1, of course, first in the Empire. And Cavalieri 34 saves on the night. Connor McAnanima with a shutout, 26 saves, it's 26 opportunities. It is his fourth shutout of the year. Of course, the person with the most shutouts in the league is Cavalieri with 5. So, again, excellent game. All right, so this was probably the game that really was the most interesting as far as potential storyline going. Last time that the Prowlers and Rockers meet this year, and the Prowlers definitely the better of the two teams this year, no question about that. And this game really wasn't as close as a score would indicate. 7-3 is the final. But Port Huron just dominated. Early on, it was all Prowlers. Tucker Scantlebury scores in the power play just a minute 36 in. Lucas Lackney, he scores at 3:16. Thelstrom scores at 8:58. Then at 9:35, it's Matt Graham scoring. Now, of course, a lot of people thinking, why didn't they make a goalie change? Well, Brent Sommerfeld is an emergency backup, meaning that unless Ricardo Gonzalez is actually physically injured, Gonzalez is the one that has to play. So there you go. Not a good night for Gonzalez. Not what we are typically used to seeing. In the second period, the Rockers do get on the board. It's Hunter Hall scoring at 2:39. And then Ryan Rotundi, he scores at 12 minutes in. 17 minutes. It was at the 17-minute mark. That was on the power play. So it's 4-2. And the Rockers, thinking, we're still in this. The shots, though, through 2 periods of play, only 14 shots generated by the Rockers, 31 by the Prowlers. Before the period was out, Tucker Scantlebury gets into a little brouhaha, gets the game misconduct for continuing an altercation. So he could be potentially looking at a suspension. We will find out this next week. But he did get the Gordie Howe hat trick with that. He had gotten an assist earlier on. Of course, he scored the opening goal. And then he gets into some fisticuffs. So there you go. There's your Gordie Howe hat trick, and his night's done. In the third period, it's Lucas Lackney scoring again, 2:34, and at 5:17 as well. So there you go. There's a hat trick for Lucas Lackney, who is really, really, really good. He is a big difference maker for the Prowlers. 12:52. It's Jameson Milan scoring in a 5-on-3 opportunity. And then at 18:21, it's Jamie Bussell closing out the scoring for the Prowlers. Crowd of 1407 on hand. And they had made a trophy, the Battle of 94 trophy. And so at the end of the game, Prowlers lifted that up. And it's something that they're very proud of. So, yes, so 7-3. So Port Huron improves to 26, 16, and 6 as Lackney has a hat trick plus 2 assists. Federley has 3 assists. Millette had 3 assists. And Matt Graham a goal and 2 assists as well. Plus Scandalberry with the goal. Gordie Howe hat trick. Easy for me to say. So Nusiainen in goal very quietly saves 24-27 to get the win. For the Rockers, Hunter Hall did have a goal and an assist. You had that power play goal by Milan, as well as a goal by Rotundi. And Gonzalez stops 40 of 47 with the loss by Motor City. Their point total max now is 70 points. So Watertown with 73 points, even though they didn't play, they get into the playoffs. They are locked in. So 4 of the 5 playoff spots in the Empire Division are now occupied. So there you go. The Rockers, they fall to 14, 29, and 3. Still a tenuous 7-point lead over the over the HC Venom. And Venom, though, they have 5 games in hand. Well, definitely 3. They're still working on rescheduling the 2 against Columbus. So, all right, there we go. This game was over before it began. So it seemed. The Columbus River Dragons just came out firing on all cylinders. And Matt Petesian, once he got in goal, he just locked things down. Even though we had a great goaltending battle up here, Petesian was probably the best goaltending performance of the night. Made several just quality, amazing saves, and stood on his head. And the kitchen sink could have been thrown at him, and he would have just caught it and thrown it over the corner. So fantastic performance by Matt Petesian as Columbus easily wins 5-1. It was 4-0 before you could even blink. Austin Doe scores a 4:44 on the power play. At 10:39, we have the first Fed goal by Tristan Reed. That's also on the power play. Alex Sturgeon scores at 13:19. And then at 17:53, it's Justin McDonald. So 4-0 right off the bat, even though Monroe had the shot advantage 12-10. Columbus gets 4 goals on 10 shots. And, Cody Krapinski, not a good night for him. In the third period, because in the second there was no scoring, let's get back to the second period here for a second. Monroe just started firing rubber from everywhere on Petesian. Couldn't solve him. So shots were 17-8 in favor of Monroe in that second period. So this was not because of a lack of offensive opportunities. This was just Monroe got out goalied. In the third period, finally, it is Yanni Lariakos scoring on the power play. 10:32, his first goal in 13 months. And then Alexander Jermayev, he closes out the scoring at 12:24, restores a 4-goal lead. It's 5-1. And Matt Petesian, a great night. 34 saves on 35 shots. For the River Dragons, Cody Wicklund had 3 assists. Austin Doe, a goal and 2 assists. For Monroe, Karpinski saves 20 of 25. Columbus held to 25 shots, but they scored when it mattered. And again, Matt Petesian coming back from IR, he looked the best he has all year. So a crowd of 43-36 on hand to see that. Monroe now 19, 20-6. They are now 15 points out of a playoff spot with only 11 games left to play. It's not looking good. While it's still going to be quite a while before mathematically they're eliminated, I think we can pretty much punch the final 2 tickets in the Continental Division, those going to Blue Ridge and Baton Rouge. Columbus is now 28-12-4. Again, kind of stuck in that third place spot. I believe that's probably where they're going to end up finishing up. And then the final game, this did have playoff implications, more so for HC Venom as they're trying to make some ground up on the Rockers, and it just wasn't happening last night. After a surprising overtime win by the Venom on Friday, on Saturday, the Blue Ridge Bobcats, they got down to business. They give Anthony Schrum the start coming out of college. Of course, this was his first FPHL start, and he played very well. The Bobcats, they took care of things defensively this time, limiting the prime opportunities by the Venom. And of course, they got plenty of shots on goal themselves, peppering John Moriarty with 59 shots. Igor Romano scores first at 17:44. Exactly 1 minute later, it's Carson Andreoli on the power play. It's 2-0 at the end of one. Blue Ridge with a decided advantage in shots in the first period, 19-7. In the second period, he had a goal by Nick McHugh at 1:42 before Denis Zajac could score for the Zydeco. Their only goal of the game, 11:45, was about the only defensive breakdown, really, that I saw the Bobcats have last night. And then Danny Martin, he scores in the power play at 16:42. So it's 4-1 at the end of the two. Shots are 39-18 in favor of the Bobcats. Yeah, they just controlled this game. In the third period, he had goals by Michael Mercurio, again on the power play. So 3 power play goals by the Bobcats last night. And Hunter Godmere, he closes out the scoring at 12:39. And there you go, 6-1. A very anticlimactic game, but this is a very important game for the Bobcats. They are now tied in points with the Baton Rouge Zydeco because of the amount of wins. The Zydeco still technically hold that 4th spot. But now, again, Blue Ridge is traveling to Athens this afternoon to play that. If they happen to even just get a point out of that game, Bobcats will leapfrog into 4th place. The Zydeco would be down to 5th. And then we're heading into the final 4 weekends of the season. So other noteworthy moment of this game, there was a point in which Collazo from Blue Ridge was skating in already with a player. My apologies. Collazo already had a player on him, kind of engaged in the battle for the puck. Lester Brown came in and just leveled him. It was a very scary scene. For a while, it looked like Collazo was going to be taken off on the stretcher, but he skates off on his own power, and then he comes back about 6 minutes later to finish out the game. Brown did get the game misconduct. Interference, but it was seen as just an illegal hit. And I'm not sure if any kind of suspension is going to come out of this or not. We will see. All right, so so your number one scorer taken out of action on a bad hit, and so there you go. So the Blue Ridge Bobcats, trying to make some progress. They want to try and get that home ice advantage for that playoff game. So, again, I think it's pretty much a given that it's going to be the Bobcats and Zydeco playing each other. It's just a matter of which team is in 4th and which is in 5th. So, there you go. All right, again, tonight we have, or this afternoon, we have The Bobcats traveling to Athens to take on the Rock Lobsters. And we also have the third and 3 nights, the Dashers playing the Mississippi SeaWolves. So those games will wrap up the weekend. Tomorrow we'll have stars and standings. I'll post them on Facebook, and I will do game recaps. I'm going to actually get back into using the Flash Audio Network, so tune into that. Make sure you're subscribed to that, whatever platform you like to listen to, and make sure you're following me on Facebook and here on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for watching and for putting up with my coughing and hacking. And yeah, it's going to be a long road to recovery. All right, I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Hello.